this is it. This is what people want to talk about, even though it's kind of old news, but all news is old. So, and that is one of the worst CEO interviews probably ever in the history of esports. Such a weird thing to have happen. So, just for background, G2 obviously sold their star player Monsey. You might have heard a little bit about that, a little bit about it on this channel. He left, and immediately afterwards, an interview came out where he was basically saying, look, the org had all these problems. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. You know, there was all these issues. And prior to that as well, Swanee, that had worked at G2, also said, like, you know, I felt Hooksy was kind of done a bit dirty, all this other stuff. And so HLTV confirmed. They came out and said to Stilgar, as his gamer name is, Alban Deschalot, the CEO of G2, he said, why don't you come on the show? They said, why don't you come on the show and explain your perspective? And over the course of that, I don't know, he just kept saying things where I was thinking, yeah, but don't say it like that. Don't say that at all, or you don't mean it that way, or why would you share that? And so I'm going to play you a little bit of the clips from the episode, but some of the quotes here are shocking, and I want to kind of go by them one by one. It's just an insane interview. I mean, I'll say this, 10 out of 10 for transparency, I guess. Maybe a little too fucking transparent, but just crazy that he kept saying these things and making it sound worse than it probably actually is, but whatever. So they led with this. Monsey did not commit to helping us build a roster around him. And I think this is the relevant clip. I think they're in order.
I want to make it clear that it was not about money. I think we offered several times like bonuses for renewal or a significant increase of salary, and that would have made him like probably one of the most paid players in the world. And he was never about that. So I want to give him to him. He was always about the project and who he wants to play with. In this case, a very particular player. In the case of Nico, I love to see them together because you can see it's very genuine. It's a bit sad. It's a bit awkward. I love that some casters call them the G2 duo still because they are confused too. But yeah, we have to accept that they are leaving now. And if there's one thing is I just hope they're going to win the major for Nico and for Monsey. I wish them that. But we couldn't convince him.
So first, he says it's not about money. It wasn't about money for him. And we tried to offer him money. And the first thing he says is bonuses. And when organizations talk about paying players bonuses, what they mean is we're finding ways to make it look like we're giving them more money, but it's contingent on performance, so we might not have to give them more money. This is like basically what I used to do in Ugandan Football Manager, wasn't it? We give you £1 for a salary, but for every goal you score, £5. For every appearance fee, £5, right? Now, as a result of my time as a Ugandan football manager, I'm very skeptical about it when organizations offer bonuses over salary. Because I want it in my pocket. I want it tangible. I don't want it to be based on some ephemeral thing that I might not even control. Like, what bonuses? Is it we have to win trophies? Well, I got 4 other guys. I've got 4 other guys I need to rely on to get my fucking paper. I'm doing my job. So I get real wary when people start talking about bonuses, as does any Ugandan player at Wakizo Giants. But also, he says we offered him enough money that it would have made him one of the most high-paid players in the world, one of the most paid players in the world. Why isn't he one of the fucking highest-paid players in the world already? He was the second best player in the fucking world last year. Why isn't he on a mega salary? There's a genuine argument that he should be the highest paid player in the world. So I'll say this. Sure, I have no doubt that him wanting to play with Nico was like a bigger factor. But you could have tried making him the highest paid player. Not one of. I mean the. You could have done that. Could have done that when Nico was still in the team. Could have locked him up long term. But you didn't. So I will remind everyone, he said here we couldn't convince Monsey because Monsey wanted to play with Nico. Could you have done anything to keep Nico? Maybe. Do you think that might have helped? Well, let me remind you what you said in an interview in October of 2024. If we wanted to keep Nico, we could have done so. So why didn't you? You see, there's this thing called cause and effect. So you could have kept Nico. You're telling me you could have kept Nico. You know Monsey wants to play with Nico. You choose not to keep Nico. And then you go, fucking hell, we can't keep Monsey. He only wants to bloody play with Nico. So essentially, in this moment, which, listen, spoiler, he's probably lying. I don't think they could have kept Nico, right? But let's take him at his word, right? I'm going to give you the respect, judge you on the things you say about yourself and your business. Then you essentially, in this moment, knew that Monsey was going to go to Falcons. You knew as soon as Nico went out the door, that's what you were opening yourself up to. Then, he did not commit to helping us build a roster around him. He was not clear about the staff and teammates he wanted. It was difficult to make him happy. What? It's just mental to say this. It's not his job. It's not Monsey's job to tell you, I think this roster would work, and this would work, and this would work, and you go get me those players, yeah, and then I'll stay. Oh, and by the way, I'll help you recruit them as well. He's a player, dude. He's a star player. You can listen to his input if he volunteers it, but it's not on him to build a roster for you. It's not on him to tell the world, I'm going to commit to G2, so if you want to come and play here, Jimmy, or any other fucking player that we think can, make G2 a championship-winning team, you will get to play with Monsey. Don't worry, I'm not leaving. That's not on him. So that's just an absurd thing to say. And saying it was difficult to make him happy. No, it was really simple. Pay rise, keep Nico. That's it. You had two things to do. He'd have been as happy as a fucking pig in shit if you did both of those things. And you've got both of them still on the roster, and Falcons are fucking moulding. Anyway, then he talks about how we had to act because there was a chance we could have lost Monsey for free at the end of the year. Hence the long dicking of the Falcons.
Real reason is because for 3 years, we have seen teams from Russia poaching Ilya, and through him or through his entourage, his brother or anything, trying to get there. And for me and the management team, there's a real risk that in June, one team, one with Donk, one with Electronic, I don't know, just listing them, would have come and tried to convince him to just wait 6 months to sign free agent in December. And for me, the real risk was not to earn more now versus June. It was more that we could have lose him completely in December for free, which would have prevented us to rebuild the way we want to do it in the future. So that's, for me, is the biggest reason for making a deal now, is because in June, there will be a risk for Falcons and for us, because I think Falcons didn't move also because of that another team could have convinced him to, just sign as free agent in December.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call a contradiction, because you just said prior to this, there was one thing Monsey wanted above all, and it was therefore beyond your control. He wanted to play with Nico. Nico was at Falcons. If that's what he wanted, and that's all he wanted, why would he join Spirit or Virtus.pro, who quite famously, neither of those teams have Nico on the roster? It doesn't make sense, what you're saying. It doesn't fit. It's not logical. I'll do you one better. The only team you were at actual risk from was Falcons. And you have surrendered not one, but two generational talents to them, a rival organization, and now they're probably the second best team in the world as a result of it. Way ahead of you. How's any of that good management? How is any of that about Spirit or Virtus.pro? It's not. You made choices. You made choices to do business with Falcons. I've got my own opinion on this. If you know Albans, again, I don't have to be silent. I just interchange. Sometimes he's Alan Alain Dachalot. I don't know. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, brother. But he used to be the riot guy that did business in the Middle East. Just saying. I can't understand how in good conscience you could lose not one but two generational talents to a rival organization for what probably will emerge as being not even that much money. That's just terrible management. You've just done a terrible job as a CEO. Just while we're on this as well, this is hilarious. Mr. Insider, right? Just a fucking absolute banger. Just the banger. Finger on the fucking pulse every single time. Virtus Pro will sell electronic. I don't think Monsey will join Falcons. Immediately joins Falcons, of course. Like, fucking... never mind. You'll... Up and at them, kid. You'll get them again, yeah? I just don't buy this. I don't buy this at all. That they could have swooped in, made him a big money move, outspent G2 to take him. You said it was contingent on Nico. I don't buy any of that. Also, Virtus Pro? Fuck off. Monsey and Virtus Pro. Fucking tell me another one, mate. Next, this is about Nico, Monsey, and Hunter, and how they were all ready to leave. And this is what he calls the bombs. The bombs that dropped. 3 bombs dropped all at once. So here it is.
We got hit by 3 bombs, okay? First, we learned that Nico has proactively talked to Falcons for 6 months to agree on a deal without talking to us. It was leaked. That's how we discovered it. Then we have Monsey, who has been, and it's very clear, he's been poached for the last 3 years by all the Russian teams, but very directly by Cloud9, agreeing on almost on the deal. And Monsey basically telling us that if Nico is going, and apparently it's done, he also wants to go to Cloud9. And then following that, Neymar, feeling a bit betrayed by the action, also asking to move to Vitality, where he has already a deal waiting for him. So that was kind of like a bit of a shock. We were working passionately on some potential changes, maybe 1, maybe 2 at the end of the year to upgrade the team, and that was kind of like not.
So yeah, he finishes it off and just saying that was not something we expected. So we get back to this is poor management again. Yeah. See, no sympathy. Yes, it's difficult when players get big ideas inside their head. You remember there were rumors about Monsey wanting to join that Cloud9 lineup. We all heard them behind the scenes. But again, what was it contingent on? It was contingent on one of the fucking worst kept secrets. So, little bit of context here. When we were at Copenhagen, when we were doing the Copenhagen Major, everyone was talking about how Nico had been still, even though he'd turned down Falcons, he basically turned them down and said, come and get me later. And they were still in talks. That essentially what had happened was Nico really shot for a massive contract. The Falcons kind of wanted to fucking do a stare down and say, that was when they were doing all of that shit about, Nico fucked us around and we don't want people coming here as a retirement home. We don't want people coming here just to get the bag. We want people who care about the project. By the way, they've since given him the bag. But anyway, he wanted the money, the life-changing money that everyone gets when you're in the esports World Cup and in the warm embrace of the Saudi Arabian state. And they tried to negotiate with him and play hardball, because that's how they roll. And Nico said, fine, I'll just stay here. Now, was this a secret? Absolutely fucking not. I heard someone talking about it at the bar every single day I was at the fucking bar. Every player knew, talent knew, fucking journalists knew. Members of the crew knew, support staff at organizations knew. Everyone was like, yeah, Nico's off the Falcons. We weren't too sure whether Copenhagen or fucking Shanghai was going to be the last dance, but we knew one of them was. So I ask you, how can, in a circle that big, with lips that loose, how can no one in G2 have heard? You obviously do not pay attention. And that's not good. Because you have to understand, this ain't like League, motherfuckers. This is CS. It's not poaching, right? It's, I'm going to talk to you and offer you a contract. I'm going to tell you when your contract's expired, give me a call. I'm going to see you at every single event. And every time you're fucking losing, I'm going to be in your ear saying, look, the offer's still open. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can cry, where, Tosh's interference, yeah. It's never going to hold up. It's just a conversation. Players have to keep their offers open, not to mention, a lot of these players have got agents. You don't even need to talk to the player directly. You just tap up their agent. So what this tells me is you nearly lost your core roster because one player was going to leave to an organization that was worse than you. How do you not mitigate that? How do you not solve that little problem? It's clearly monetary at that point. You just pay him the money. You've said we could have kept him. Why didn't you? Why would you not keep him? It's crazy. I'm amazed Hunter is still there. And by the way, I don't think he will be. I think Hunter will eventually leave. The problem Hunter's got now, and I think the reason he hasn't left already, is he did have an offer from Vitality. He was gonna be the replacement for Spinks. Now, by the way, it's worked out fucking way better for Vitality that none of this happened and they ended up getting Rops. But Hunter would have just gone in for Spinks and Vitality would have trundled along. They wouldn't have been this version, but they would have been good. So Hunter doesn't have that offer now. And I don't know where Hunter would end up. It wouldn't be a team like Vitality, put it that way. So he probably sticks around until there is something good. But I've told you, we're going to get another crazy roster mania after this major. I mean, we're getting a crazy roster mania before this fucking major. I mean, yeah, Hunter could have been for Monsey too, but again, it's worked out for the better. Spoiler, just as a hot take, I'm going to tell you this. The reason that they're winning all these tournaments, it's not just because Rops is really, really good and he's a great signing. It's because Monsey, Flames, is the most improved player in World Counter-Strike, and Monsey has raised his game to be a top player as well. That's the real reason. Messie's playing fucking lights out. He didn't have that before. He got the dad buff for real. But anyway, this is just no way to be running a team, my dude. This is not good. Your entire roster is contingent on you keeping one player. How do you get yourself into this situation? And how do you not deal with it sooner? And how do you, once you're in that situation, how do you not just commit? How do you not just commit and go, right, well, he's our guy. You know, like Team Liquid did with the leash. He's just our guy. And then, this is just brilliant. Deschalot said last October that G2 could have kept Nico if they wanted to. Remarks he insists were taken out of context. He says his comments were purely about the nature of any player's contract. I just don't even know where to start. Oh my God. I just don't even know where to start with this. We underestimated the impact of Nico. Right, let's just play this clip.
It was probably we thought one of the last chance to potentially sell Nico to a team and then reinvest these revenues into building a younger core, as we did with Marbs and Navigod soon after. We basically took the money from Nico and invested in two players that we believe are the future of G2. So that was the thinking at that time. I would just say we probably underestimated the impact of Nico on the rosters. Of course, he was a big voice in CT, but he was also a fantastic player, and we probably took this decision lightly. I don't know if we'd have changed the decision at the end, because that was, again, an opportunity to invest in the future. But when I look back, I think it was very important decision for us.
Right. Let's just go through this. The entire narrative about G2 is, if we keep Nico, we keep Monsey, we keep Hunter. We could have kept Nico if we wanted to. Oh no, I didn't mean specifically that. That's out of context. I meant you can keep any player if you give them a big contract. So why didn't you just give him the big contract? I don't understand. You built your entire roster around this fucking guy. You know all of the players are going to follow him out the fucking door. You just said in that clip, We saw this as the last opportunity to sell Nico and then reinvest the money into a younger core. Do you know what you've just admitted to there? You've said you wanted the money over the player. That's it at that point. There is no out of context for that, I'm afraid. You chose the money to reinvest into a younger core. Do you know what that younger core is? Not fucking Nico. You know what that younger core is? Worse than the core you had. Why? Because now you're going to have to... Now you're setting yourself all this way back. 2 generational talents. You're never going to have players on the books like Nico and Monsey at the same time. Maybe ever again in the history of CS2. One of the greatest riflers to ever touch the game. The number 2 player in the world. Potentially number 1 player in the world in any year. Widely regarded as the fastest, most bombastic AWPer in the game. You had both of them on a roster with a pretty decent supporting cast. All you needed was a good IGL. All you had to do the whole fucking time, give Nico the bag, get Shuhei. That's it. That was the game. That was it. Game, set, and match. But you didn't do it. You literally didn't do it. You didn't do the easiest GM move of all time. And you took that money to reinvest, and then you said, hey, Monsey, do you want us to reinvest? Tell us what players you'd like us to reinvest in. And Monsey went, me want Nico. And then you were like, oh yeah, shit, our bad. It's just fucking crazy to me that you're saying this out loud. And then trying to pretend that there's some sort of other context to all of this that would make this sound better. This is a total fucking fumble of epic proportions. There are organizations that will go their entire lives and they will never have a star player of Nico's caliber, let alone 2 star players of Nico and Monsey's caliber. It will never happen for them. And you've sold both. Like, I can't believe you're not like an agent for another entity. Like, you've been sent to destroy G2. Like, it's insane, these decisions. Like, if you're a G2 fan, you cannot feel good about the way that this has been GM'd at all. Forget all the Hooksy bullshit. You were right to cut Hooksy. Forget bringing in Taz. Who really cares? We'll get to that. There's more on Taz. He fucking wrecks Taz, of course. I'll just add, saying we underestimated the impact of Nico when everything bad that has happened to G2 since 23 has been about Nico leaving is mental. It's mental. It's the dumbest quote in the whole interview, probably, but whatever. Let's do this. This is great. It says here, when Nico changed his mind and chose to stay at G2, the organization refused for a few days until the Bosnian superstar committed to extending his contract and staying at G2 for another year. He was not given the bag. The opposite, in fact. Why would he stay beyond? Why did you do a dick measuring contest now? Here, with him? Why did you do it now? Why did you do it then? This was the time to fucking make reparations and build fences and not to have a fractious relationship and go, you better give us 1 more year and you know what? You're taking a pay cut, mate. And then, and this is just fantastic, Monsey, on his interview, Hooksy's the best, man. He was the greatest IGL. He stayed up late and everything. Turns out that when they won Dallas without Hooksy, with Stewie 2K, they asked Nico to become the full-time IGL. Conveniently left that out of the interview, Monsey, I noticed, when you were on Banks' podcast there. Conveniently left that part out.
I'm sure we're going to talk about Hooksy at one stage in Snax. But we were considering for Nico to be IGL for 6 months. And so at that time, probably we would have gone with Heavy God as an anchor. When we changed our plan for the IGL because he didn't want to do it, we went for Mouse because we're like, okay, we need.
Also, by the way, like Chad loves the game, right? Like I'm not saying Striker and Prof don't. Obviously, they do too. But Chad is getting more and more triggered. As this podcast goes on, I can just see his eyes are just sinking into his skull. He's just propping himself up right now. That's like to try not to like just lash out at the nonsense he's hearing. Like he can't believe all of this.
I'm sure we're going to talk about Hooksy at one stage. Look at it. But we were considering for Nico to be IGL for 6 months. And so at that time, probably we have gone with Heavy God as an anchor. When we changed our plan for the IGL because he didn't want to do it, we went for Mouse because we're like, okay, we need to find a solution that we believe for the future. So we went for Mavs and we convinced Mavs to go for anchor position, which worked very well for the transition.
So wait, you asked Nico when to be an in-game leader for 6 months? This would be halfway through
after
2024.
After that, after
So when they won with Dewey.
Of course, what they actually won with him as IGL. I got it. Okay.
I mean, that's just so delicious. All the people standing for Hooksy, and it's like not even his teammates could fucking do it anymore. So, which is it? Hooks sells? Is he the best IGL? Misunderstood? Won trophies for G2? Or is he someone that his own teammates had no faith in to the point they wanted an unproven IGL to take over his job? Just saying it. It then goes on. And apparently Nico didn't want to pursue being an IGL. I think that was famously when some interview came out and Nico said, I will be an IGL at some point in my career, but not now. And that's fine. You know, obviously you do it at the end to extend your career. And this led to the arrival of Snax. By the way, this is painful. Right. You know, everything is on a fucking knife's edge in that team. Right, let's be clear. You've had arguments with your Bosnian superstar. He wants to leave, right? You managed to get him to stay after he, negotiations break down with Falcons. Instead of using that as an opportunity to lock him up on a long-term contract with crazy money, you lock him up on a 1-year extension on shit money, therefore guaranteeing he's going to leave. But as soon as he leaves, your other star player's going to leave, and maybe even the first star player's cousin is going to leave. The team want you to bring in a better IGL than Hooksy. They've had talks about replacing him. And you go out with your scouts and you recruit Snax, a player that had done nothing with Gamer Legion. They got to the first stage of the new wave major. And you recruited Snax. And you said, ta-da! Don't worry, guys. Everything's going to be okay. Nico's here for another year, and here's your new IGL. Poo-poo-poo-poo-poo. A player that hasn't been relevant within Tier 1 for years, and never been an IGL, really. Are you fucking joking? Are you joking? That's like asking for a Nintendo Switch for fucking Christmas, and then getting one of those stupid shit little gamer watches. Like, beep, 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 beep. Same thing. It plays video games, right? Play them on the move. One game. Mostly. Yeah, fucking Tiger Games. Basically, that's it, isn't it? Snax is the Tiger Games of IGLing. That's what they got. It's mental. And they thought that was good. They thought that was going to be good. They thought that was going to persuade. That'll steady the ship. It's just mental. I can't believe any of this. Then, says here, this is the absolute banger. This is the banger-langer right at the end. Deschalot used the platform to defend head coach Taz, who he says is a fantastic human being, and the general manager Pekka. Taz was signed against Hooksy's wishes, based on a judgment that the players who were more likely to stay on the team preferred that outcome. Hooksy, he says, was the only one in the team in favour of his preferred option, a coach he had worked with in the past. So probably some fucking... I mean, Hooksy's not had a lot of teams, has he? So you could probably guess. Is it like Volberg or someone? I don't know. Who did he have as a coach at Copenhagen Flames? Probably him. Anyway, we had so much experience, firepower, and tactical knowledge in the team, we didn't feel the need for a strategic coach. Oh, why would you say this? Why would you say this? Oh, God, it's dumb for so many reasons. It's the worst thing you could have said for so many reasons. Right, first of all, he has defended Taz and said Taz is a fantastic person. You've absolutely fucking wrecked that fantastic person with this quote. Do you know how hard Taz has to work to convince people he's like not just a fucking glorified cheerleader and he's capable of strats? Like, you have to understand, Taz at various points was an IGL for one of the top teams in the world. He has so much big game experience across his career, going all the way back to fucking Pentagram or whatever the fuck. This is a living CS history book, right? So I'm going to assume he knows a thing or two about the game. When you're a coach, you only get to be as tactical as your team allows you to be. If my IGL doesn't respect me as a coach, and I say, I think we should do this strat, IGL goes, no, we will not be doing that strat. Nice timeout, player. Tight dick, player. And then he just runs the strat he wants to run. That's how it works, by the way. At most organizations, these fucking coaches have no authority. None at all. They can't cut people from the roster. They can't discipline people. They can't even recruit players. They just get to stand behind and go, well, maybe it's a timeout, so maybe, have you thought about this? Maybe A over B? You know, all right, well, good job. That's it. That's what a coach does in a lot of these top organizations. So don't tell me it's because Taz can't be strategic. You've admitted that Hooksy didn't want him, didn't respect him. So, all right, cool, I guess. But even if Taz, this tenured player, this legend, this Hall of Fame player, even if he wasn't capable of being strategic, there are many such examples of Hall of Famer players that couldn't even really tell you why they're good at the game. They couldn't call a strat, you know? But they can execute one. And sometimes you call a strat, they just don't listen, but they kill everyone because they're just really good. Why would you publicly say he's not picked for his strategy? Why would you say that? The community had a field day with this. A fucking field day. I will show you that field day. Vibes greater than tactics. Top comment. And this is, oh no, don't make me agree with Darko Plax. Not the G2 scourge of the CSGO subreddit. No. I cannot agree with the evil. But he's right. We had two former Astralis players say, it was Zipnix and Dupree, that ultimately Sonic was a good morale guy. He was a good vibes guy. He wasn't all that tactical, actually. We had Glaive for that. Everyone is now back to fucking hopping on Sonic as the greatest of all time. Oh, look, they won PGL Bucharest. This means that they are so back. They spent 10 million to win a tournament that Vitality didn't attend. They are the best. He is the best. We were wrong about you, Sonic. You were allowed to fail for a year, not win a single trophy, and not just only not win, but finish last. Right? Taz, fuck you. Flirting versus harassment again. I love G2 management. I'm sure they won't lose two of their best players in the span of a few months. They did. Taz is never beating the pom-pom girl allegation. Bro looked for an actual cheerleader, laughing my ass off. By the way, this guy, Roman64S, he agrees with me. The CEO is actually fucking stupid. Jesus Christ, this is like the worst time to come out and say, yeah, we brought Taz in for the vibes, when Taz's criticisms are sky high. Sometimes, like, we needed a coach who could help a lot with the mental would have been enough. Much better framing, yeah. This guy should have the fucking CEO job at G2. The jokes were real. Falcon's Flare, of course. Falcon's Flare. The mark of the beast. The new mark of the beast. G2 is an actual meme org, for fuck's sake. They picked up fucking Hooksy because you guys kept calling him the fucking Giga Chad when he was in Copenhagen Flames and you memed him into reality, you fucking bellends. Of course they're a meme organisation. This is piss poor management. This was obvious from the start. Taz won't beat the cheerleader coach allegations, as they weren't allegations in the first place. Buying a coach your IGL doesn't want for the vibes. Sounds like great management. Are they trying to beat EG mismanagement? I mean, come on. EG's mismanagement nearly had a fucking body count. It's not that bad. Twitch chat was right after all. It's never right. Vibe-based coaching, clown management. This deserves a Lamau. He remind me ex-Lakers bald coach. Well, what a fucking disastrous thing to say. Like, just mental. And now you're replacing him with Saw. He's a wonderful person. You couldn't have treated him worse if you fucking despised this guy. You mugged him off on one of CS's biggest podcasts at a time when everyone was going to seize on anything negative about him, and now you're going to fire him after the fucking major and replace him with somebody that everyone really, really likes in the community. Like, you've absolutely gaped him into oblivion. I cannot believe that you're just like, oh, but we are talking, we are just saying some things here, and we really like the Taz. Like, what is that? What is happening? You're a CEO of one of the esports' biggest organizations. This industry. And then also as well, Pekka, meanwhile, had been under fire on social media by fans who hold him responsible for Nico and Monsey's exit, but G2 insists these were rational collective decisions. If you believe Pekka makes decisions because of nationality or friendship, you are delusional. He would be fired to business like this. We are very happy to have him in our team. That refers to, of course, the now disastrous Nexa move. That didn't help, did it? That didn't help either, did it? I guess we can say, in retrospect, another part of the problem kind of is every time you cut a player, you generally replace them with someone that's absolutely shit in comparison. Like, maybe don't do that. I agree. JKS probably had to go. He's not beating the Justin average allegations. That's fine. But you can't replace him with fucking Nexa, who's never even played that role before, and then proceeds to be dog shit. And then it's like, why is he in the team again? Oh, well, he knows the guys from back in the day. So obviously people are going to draw conclusions based on that. Well, we'll get rid of Hooksy. Are there any good IGLs out there? I hear that Shuei's pretty good. Yeah, well, don't worry about that. We've got a guy. There's a bunch of really competent up-and-coming coaches out there that are well-regarded. Do you want to do that? No, what we're going to do is we're going to give Taz a fucking Poison Chalice job, a job when that he's never had before in any of his career, on the biggest stage for the biggest org with the most critical fan base, and at the end of his career, we're going to fucking mug him right off, mate. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I think your management fucking stinks. I think it stinks. Then there's this. Not really all that important or relevant, but let's play it. Let's do it in its completion.
I think if we would have considered him, I think it would have happened earlier in his career. But it was never the right timing. I think sometimes he was very locked with previous teams, and sometimes he was not personally as committed to the game as he was in the past. I think since his transition to CS2, I think he's less on the top of the wish list from top orgs like us. He has an amazing career. He's an amazing player. But right now, I think we are more focused on like younger players than him. And I know it would have been hyped and will very interesting for my marketing team. But we are making decision for competition first.
Put it this way, simple's definitely not the answer for G2. That wouldn't have helped. It might have helped a little bit with the idiots in social media. They might have given you a bit of an easier time. But other than that, not really. But this here is illustrated by post Nico. We can't replace Ilya with one trade of one player. He has too much impact. Nobody on the planet, except maybe Ziwu, can replace him. We're already working on changes. The goal is to reinvest and to rebuild, even if change does not happen overnight. And again, this is code, and the fans have got to pick up on what's being sent out here, right? So first of all, you can actually replace Ilya with a one trade of one player. You've correctly identified it would be Ziwu. But what you've said here is G2 could never have Ziwu. We could simply never have him. Well, that's interesting because there's like maybe 5 players. It's not 5. It's like 3 that are vaguely comparable to Monsey in terms of impact. And you're saying you can't have any of them. But why? For you are G2. You were the biggest esports org at one point in time. That might not be true now. It should still be relatively true. So why can't you have these players? It's interesting, right? Interesting admission. Also, all you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ. But also, all you had to do was keep the damn Nico Stilgar. That's all you had to do. That was it. That was it. It was the easiest GM solution all time. That's all you had to do. You chose not to do that. And now you're saying, listen, we've got this impossible job. We can't replace Nico. We can't replace Monsey. So what we're doing is we're reinvesting and rebuilding, even if change does not happen overnight. But You've just said you can't replace those players, so who gives a fuck about what change you make and whether or not it's overnight? What that's code for, by the way, guys, is we're going to be shit for a long, long time. Remember that period of time where, like, G2 didn't win a trophy for, like, 5 fucking years? Remember that? Another reason why everyone fucking jerks off about how good fucking Hooksy actually was, because it was so long they went without a trophy. They used to choke in semi-finals and finals all the fucking time. Never got a fucking trophy. Right? You can go back to that with bad management. It's as simple as that. And what they're telling you is, guess what, guys? We're going back to that. Whenever a GM or a manager or a coach or a CEO, whenever they tell you change will be slow and gradual, what they're telling you are just buckle up for a fucking sustained period of shit times. Man United fans will tell you about this. Change won't happen overnight. Someone comes in, tries to make change. You expect overnight results. You fire the people trying to make the change. You're back to square one, trying to make more change happen gradually, but expecting immediate results. You exist in this, ridiculous state that it's unachievable, You've got to commit to a 3-year plan, minimum, They don't do it. And they're telling you, the management of G2, the CEO of G2, are telling you, the G2 fans, the esports fans, like, that's just not us anymore. We're going to have a younger team, a more inexperienced team. We can't replace the players that have gone before. They're irreplaceable players. I'm going to say this. Only a handful of players are irreplaceable. And if they're irreplaceable, you don't replace them. You keep them. Right? If they're genuinely irreplaceable. And I agree with him. I think Monsey is genuinely irreplaceable. I think fucking Nico is genuinely irreplaceable. But you had them. And not only did you have them, you only had to please one of them. For where one goes, the other shall go. For they are like Frodo and Samwise. Right? That's how it is. So all you had to do was fucking give them bigger fucking hobbit holes in the Shire, and that was that. That was it. Problem solved. It's just so mental that you have sat down and tried to justify where G2 are. And obviously, as we know now, your solution, right? Also, hang on. Nearly forgot to mention this. You want to invest younger and for the future. And Son Pius is 26, turning 27. So, you could have had a really cool young IGL, by the way. You let him go to Liquid. Nothing he said makes any sense whatsoever. Like, it's actually crazy. And I don't know. Listen, I understand why Carlos can't come back. It's not lost on me. I've talked to him directly. If you haven't watched that interview on my channel, you can go watch it. I understand. But none of this would have happened on his watch. 100%. None of this would be happening right now. This would be unacceptable. Snax would never have happened. Nico would never have gone. Son Pius would not be coming in. Hooksy wouldn't have happened either. Yeah, I will say, thumbnail game on point here, right? Shout out to the boys at HLTV for the thumbnail. Nico hugging Monsey while the CEO of fucking G2 is like, you fucking bastards, how dare you? How dare you fucking leave? You fucking little bastard. Little bastard. How dare you go and win trophies with a fucking someone else, you bastard. I mean, he even said in there, he's like going, I want them to win the major. I really want it for them. Do you know what that means? That means G2 aren't winning the major. He doesn't think G2 can win a major. He thinks majors are off the table for G2. Because why would you say it otherwise? Because, you should be in the final of the major, right? You're G2. You were there. Wasn't that long ago. Just absolutely insane shit to say. Fuck me. I say this all the time. I don't think GMing and being in charge of an esports organ, and I have done it, because obviously I'm Richie 1,000 jobs. I mean, ours was small, and it wasn't successful, and it was really just about turning up to a LAN and, turning up, playing your games and going home. It was a lot easier back in the day. But it's just it's so bewildering, like the decisions that they've made. Repeated bad decisions over and over and over again. And then they're going, well, these players are irreplaceable. Why did you let them go? Why did you do it? Why? All of this is so avoidable. And the worst part about it is you've let them go to a rival that was they were below you. And now are miles ahead of you, just by virtue of having two of your players. All you had to do was get a serious IGL. All you had to do was keep Nico. All you had to do was maybe bring in a more tactical coach. Or, maybe Taz can stick around if the new IGL vibes with him. Just what an absolute shocker. I mean, shockingly bad management, but to come out and do an interview like that and try and justify it all is it's mind-blowing to me. Well, it's just crazy. Just crazy. And also, of course, it's sown a bunch of division as well ahead of the major anyway. Because it's like, turns out all the players didn't want you, Snax. Didn't want you, Taz. What a fucking joke.